So, Dobsters, Dow Margies, welcome to DOB Dynasty, doing our best. We're going to go over two franchises and our owners of our franchises in our Dynasty League. Just kind of go over what we would do if we were in their shoes, kind of judge their picks, and then just seeing what they should do next. So the first one we have is, his name is Franchise One. Funny story behind that is he wasn't the first one to join. He just kind of changed his name to Franchise One. Don't know the reason. It's probably just a joke. Anyway, his quarterbacks are Jimmy Garoppolo, Justin Herbert, J.J. McCarthy, Kenny Pickett, and C.J. Stroud. And then, some context for the background of this, he traded his first round pick for next year. Honestly, forgot who he traded for. It was part of something. And then, so he doesn't have a first round next year. So my opinion with this is he would have to, try to win this year because he doesn't have his pick for the next year. So I would say, try to trade Justin Herbert, J.J. McCarthy, or C.J. Stroud, any one of the three. You could be, in my opinion, I would try to trade either Herbert or Stroud because they're higher and keep McCarthy and the other guy. And then try to trade for a receiver because his receivers are kind of weak. For my opinion, his team it's in good shape, and I believe that he should go all in this year since he doesn't have his first round next year. We get best quarterbacks next year.
I mainly agree with what you said. In my notes, I have him trying to trade C.J. Stroud and keeping Justin Herbert and J.J. McCarthy, only because I feel like at this point in time, you probably get it is a one quarterback league, but you probably get the most value from C.J. Stroud and Justin Herbert, which seems like Harbaugh likes to just run the ball a lot, and J.J. McCarthy is kind of like an unknown commodity right now. So, I mean, I guess this would be in hindsight later, but J.J. McCarthy could have the highest ceiling, but as of today, C.J. Stroud definitely seems to be the highest ranked quarterback he has, and he has three startable quarterbacks, and a weak his weakest link is definitely his receiver. So I'd probably try to either trade one of the quarterbacks and one of his future picks because he has a couple of seconds in 2027. So maybe combine a quarterback and a pick or two to either get a higher pick next year or another startable wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. So his next one, his running backs are Gerald Ford, Najee Harris. He picked James Jordan at 4.08. He has Dameon Pierce. He picks Cam Scatterboo at 2.03. He has Ramondre Stevenson. And like all those are like, I would say mid. Like they're workable. Caleb Johnson could end up being the guy. I see Najee Harris at best splitting carries with Omarion Hampton, like right off the bat. And then Jerome Ford is just on a shitty team. Cleveland just doesn't really have anything going for him. Maybe he'll get some pass catching opportunities, but I don't think he's that much of a receiving. He can do it, but he's not known for it.
Right. And then for my opinion on those running backs, I feel like the room it's fine. Like honestly, if I would grade it at a 10, I'd probably give it like a 5. I do like the addition of Cam Scatterboo and Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson is probably at least going to be mainly the lead back there. I know they have Jalen Warren, but it seems like Caleb Johnson is kind of leaning towards more touches in the preseason.
He'll definitely get like the goal line touches too, since Jalen Warren is more of a agile back, not power back.
And I know a lot of media and other dynasty channels are really behind Cam Scatterboo. I think he'll be good too, but I am also a big Tyrone Tracy guy. I think he's a really good pass catcher. But other than that, not too much depth. I know he does have Ramondre Stevenson and David Montgomery, but both of them are kind of getting on the older side, and I know at least Ramondre Stevenson will be a free agent next year, and they drafted Travion Henderson. So there is definitely work to be done there. I just feel like his wide receiver room needs to be improved because he has a lot of like wide receiver 2s and 3s.
Man, his receivers, listen to this: Rashad Bateman, Kendrick Bourne, Greg Dortch, John Mechie, Ricky Pearsall, which he gave up a 1.11 for. The 1.11 ended up being Tyler Warren. And then he has Demarcus Robinson, Jamison Williams, and Xavier Worthy. He gave up that 1.11 for Jamison Williams. Half and half, I mean, like.
Was it Ricky Pearsall?
Mhm.
He said Jamison Williams.
Traded 1.11 for. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, sorry. And then he traded. What did he trade for? Jamison Williamson.
I'm not sure on that one.
Okay, we'll have to check that. But anyway, he ended up with Jamison Williams and Ricky Pearsall. Those were the two that he traded for this year, just with his picks. It's kind of, it's definitely mid. It kind of sucks because he has to. I'd say he has to trade one of his quarterbacks to get a receiver, but his receivers that he could get with just like the quarterback, he could package something. But I think the best he could do is like Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Debo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, kind of options like those that are like mid or a little bit on the older side. But that would at least put him in competition. And since he doesn't have his first round pick note next year, then he might as well go for it this year.
Yeah, he has, in my opinion, at least 4 startable receivers. I don't think any of them are number one options. But I know we argued off camera about this a little bit, but I do think Rashad Bateman's going to get a lot of at least touchdowns this season. But I'm not too big of a believer in Jamison Williams. I know a lot of people in our league are, so I could be wrong. I just think he's like third or fourth option on that team. Ricky Pearsall, I do think he might have a pretty decent year this year because it seems like all the receivers are going down or holding out in San Francisco. So he could be a sneaky good pick if he pans out. And Xavier Worthy will probably get a lot of early targets because I'd assume Rashid Rice is going to get suspended. It has not came out yet that he is, but I will assume. But they did spend pretty decent draft capital on him last year, and they used him towards the end of the season. But yeah, overall, I would like to try to work out some deal. Like even if you could package CJ Stroud and like Ramondre Stevenson and a pick, and maybe try to get like a little bit better of a wide receiver. But for a 14-team league and having multiple starting spots, I think you should definitely try to improve some of his receivers
for sure. And then finally his tight ends, he has Isaiah Likely, Darnell Washington, and Jelani Woods. All those are in the air for me. They can either have a good season, they can have a bad season, they can go on to be greats, they can go on to be bust, kind of. Just depends on where they're at. But those names are good. Like they could do something. So it's not like a total loss, either one of those three. Jelani Woods is, of course, coming off an injury. And then Darnell Washington, I believe he got injured last year, or they just don't use him. Of course, they traded for, what's his name? The Giants X Titan.
Evan Ingram?
No, he's on Denver. The Giants X Titan. He's on Pittsburgh now.
Darren Waller.
Yeah, Darren Waller. So Darnell Washington might have to wait like one more year, but I don't know. He's such a big body, and that's a big tight end room, and it looks like in camp he seemed to have grown over the past year, so that's good. I do want to mention too that he he has 6 defensive linemen and 4 defensive backs. You can only start one of each, so he could use like the extra space. Free agents is coming up, so I assume he's going to drop at least like 3 defense linemen and 2 defensive backs, which would be fine. He has his 2026, but it's a late second because it's not his. And then the rest of his picks plus an extra 4th. And then 2027, he has all of his picks plus an extra mid second, and then all of his 2028 picks.
Yeah, but my final note on his team, I do feel like it's pretty like mid tier. Like on my little list, I give it a C, a solid C.
Plus.
No, not C plus, just a C. But I will say he's in like pretty decent shape. Like I don't think his team in like 2 years is going to be in the toilet unless all these rookies just don't pan out, which is possible.
Yeah.
But the one note I put that was a little different than his was a lot of the older pieces. Like I mean, obviously, I guess sometimes you got to just sit down and be realistic. I don't think his team's going to win the championship. It might borderline he might make the playoffs, but I don't even think he'll do that. I'm not saying it's a bad team, but it does suck that he doesn't have his first rounder next year.
First rounder at all.
Yeah, at all. So honestly, in my opinion, all of his older assets, I just try to trade away for like seconds and thirds and get some type of value before no one's even gonna want to touch them. Because
Raheem Mostert, David Montgomery, Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, those running backs, Tyler Higbee, I would get whatever I could for him because this is probably his last year.
I didn't even write him down. I assume his career's over.
It is, but I'm sure someone will dish out like a fourth or something. But because you never know. I mean, there's a couple weeks where people got Puka Nakua in the fourth round. So I'd rather just gamble on that than a turning 33-year-old tight end. But the other people, I don't think they're going to get anything for John Mechie or Brendan Rice or anything. But mainly the running backs, that seems like has the most value to trade to get maybe like a mid-second next year. Like if you try to get David Montgomery away or something to a contender team. Same as Ramondre Stevenson, Jerome Ford. I'm sure and Najee Harris. I'm sure someone will trade like a third for them. But probably the best deal, like we said earlier, package a quarterback with one of these players and a lower pick to try to get another player on the roster.
Or maybe a first if you can package the right people.
Yeah, I think that's possible. But we'll switch over to our next team. You want to lead that in?
Sure. So our next team is his name is the Dawn of Fantasy. He's been in the top. He's bragged about it. I'll go over that in a minute. But he's in the top 4 the last 5 years. So he says. I haven't actually double checked that, but that's what he says. But he's very confident, obviously, being the Dawn of Fantasy. Anyway, his quarterbacks are Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson. And then he only has a 2026 fourth, and then he has all of his 2027 and 2028 picks.
All right. As he said, he only has the 2 quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson. I'm pretty much kind of done on Anthony Richardson. I kind of do feel bad for him. It seems like a lot of people have problems with him because his rushing upside and he does have like a cannon of an arm. It just doesn't seem like he's just not going to get it. So I guess on that point, like we're talking about, because in my notes I do have him potentially trading a few pieces to rebuild because just like the other team we talked about, he does not have a first round pick. He doesn't have any picks next year except a 1/4. And then after that, it's normal draft for him. But the way his team is set up, I would also try to quickly rebuild for the future, even if that means getting off some big assets because he is not deep at really any position. Maybe receiver, if you want to say that, but a lot of the receivers are old. So if we're just talking about the quarterbacks, I would probably try to get off Jalen Hurts while I believe his value is still high. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but I do not see him being very consistent fantasy-wise, at least passing the ball.
Yeah, I think he's at his peak now, but his peak may last like 2 to 3 years. So we'll see on that. We can go down to his running backs. Yeah, it's Chase Brown, Rico Dowdy, Austin Eckler, Jordan Mason, Alexander Madison, Tony Pollard, Devin Singletary, and Sean Tucker. I only put Sean Tucker in there because he had like 87 yards still last. I know it was a preseason game, but he had 87 yards last game. I'm going to go off script a little bit. He mentioned Anthony Richardson, so I'm a huge Florida fan, and that dude did not learn a damn thing. He went in, he made the same mistakes, he made the same throws, he just never learned, and the Colts took a chance on him. I get it, the upside, cannon of an arm, can run, huge body. He's going to get those yards, but he can't pass, man. And that's what you need to be a quarterback. Honestly, to me, he's worse than Justin Fields. That's pretty bad. And then, of course, on the other side with franchise 1, he has Ricky Pearsall. Pearsall is known for 1 catch in his Florida career, and that was the one hand behind. He was running and it came behind him and he grabbed it with 1 hand. That's it. Everything else is just whatever. The good thing is for Ricky Pearsall, though, is there's barely any targets in Stanford anymore. Of course, you have McCaffrey, you have George Kittle, but then you have Brandon Ayuk who's on the pup, and then after that, it's a toss-up. So you have Ricky Pearsall doing that. He'll probably be the only receiver besides Brandon Ayuk for the next 2 years. So it could work out, could not work out. But all I know is when I saw him at Florida, that's all he did was just that one catch, and he's just known for it, and that happens. I guess you could compare it to OBJ because if we look back on it, OBJ only was elite for maybe 2 years, maybe, and he didn't put up the stats that I thought that he did, just based on all the hype that he got.
Right.
Unless you have anything.
Nah. But yeah, so his running back room is kind of weak besides Chase Brown. We'll see what Chase Brown becomes. He had a really good year last year. Joe Burrow dumped it off to him a lot, and he found the end zone quite often. But the rest of his running backs, I'm not too sold on them. I know Rico Dow had a pretty decent year with the Cowboys, but he's not on the Cowboys anymore. And I thought they went to the same team at first. I thought Tony Pollard went there too.
I thought Tennessee.
Tony's on Tennessee. Rico's on Carolina. Yeah. But
same coach.
Yeah. But those are probably the only 2 running backs where you could get somewhat value. And in my vision of his team, I would be trading them. Even if I could get, honestly, if I could combine them and get a high second, I feel like that's a win because you're not going to get too much for them. Because one is a backup to Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard. But so he'll get some carries there, but he's already the lead back. He's getting paid and they have Jonathan Brooks if he ever returns. And Tony Pollard, he's probably going to get the majority of the carries, but he's someone that doesn't excite me too much. So I'd probably try to get rid of him before his value goes down. But honestly, other than that,
2 Cowboy running backs.
Yeah,
Pollard and Dow.
But other than that, I don't see anybody notable on his roster. I mean, Austin Eckler might steal a couple touchdowns, but he's probably at the last year of his career. Yeah, that's really about it. I don't have much to say about his running backs. I would probably try to trade those 2 running backs and get whatever picks I could because he does not have a first, second, or third this year. And it seems like he is potentially trying to kind of tank for those 27 early first. And then we'll jump to the wide receivers.
The receivers that I wrote down was Keenan Allen, Hollywood Brown, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Jawan Jennings, Bub Means, DJ Moore, and he picked Kyle Williams at 2.05.
All right. His receiving room, if he keeps the team, I feel like it would be solid for the year. But like I said, Dynasty, you're always looking towards the future. It's not much future in here besides Justin Jefferson. And sadly, that's probably the piece I would try to trade away to get whatever I could to rebuild this team as quick as possible. Because his other receivers besides Justin Jefferson, we all know he's great. But not too much. Like DJ Moore, he's good, but we'll see what he is in the next year or two because in my theory, we're going to be rebuilding. Jawan Jennings, which he just acquired, not too much upside. He's almost 29 years old, and he's injured / holding out this year. And we just talked about Ricky Pearsall and Brandon Ayuk. Stephon Diggs he has, which he's almost 32 years old, going on his 4th team. I don't see him being super productive in the league that much longer. Maybe this year because he is the clear-cut number 1 target in New England. And the other player, I didn't even really talk about Marquise Brown too much. But Keenan Allen.
He's on Kansas.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I gave him that.
But Keenan Allen, he's back on the Chargers. I've been reading he's looking good in training camp, but he's an older wide receiver. I can't see him lasting much longer than this. This might be the last time you get any value off of Keenan Allen and Stephon Diggs. And it's not even going to be high value at the moment. So I would probably try to sell both those receivers plus Justin Jefferson and kind of go in a full-on rebuild in this guy's team.
Keenan Allen also had the case of the dropsies for Chicago last year. He dropped so many pivotal 3rd downs when that's the reason we got him. It is what it is. For tight ends, he has Zach Ertz, Mike Gesicki, Taysom Hill, Austin Hooper, and David Njoku.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't have much to say about the tight ends. I do like David Njoku, but they did just draft Harold Fannin, so we'll see where that goes.
He's like 7 years in the league now because he came in young.
Yeah. I mean, he's still pretty productive for
sure.
being on the Browns, not having a quarterback. But the other, really, two tight ends, which I would consider maybe getting points, would be Mike Gesicki, he re-signed with Cincinnati, and Zach Ertz, which, I mean, if Terry McLaurin's not there, he'll get a pretty large dose of targets this year. But just two more old assets that I just think it's probably just time to get off of. Yeah. I mean, unless you think you're going to win the championship this year, keep the team how it is. But in my opinion, I don't think it will win. But yeah, I would just try to do a quick as possible full rebuild on this team. My main pieces I would trade would be Jalen Hurts and Justin Jefferson, and just get off your old assets.
And that's what I'm about to talk about. So this year he did big moves. He traded Tua, George Pickens, and a linebacker for Anthony Richardson and a 2026 mid-first. He ended up trading that 2026 mid-first, Jawan Jennings, and a linebacker for Tank Dell, 3.05, which ended up being Jadon Blue and a linebacker. And then he also traded Cooper Kupp for 2.05, which he picked Kyle Williams, and 3.05, which he traded away. So this dude has been trying to trade Justin Jefferson. Like we're going to go on to it, but he's been trying to bully some of our league mates. And then he's trying to restart. That's not a bad idea. I agree with everything that my friend over here said. He should trade Justin Jefferson and just start over. He said he hasn't won this league yet, and I could tell he's getting frustrated because his team is always there, but they're just not pulling away.
He's missed the mark now.
Yeah, he's missed the mark now, so he kind of needs to start over. To salvage a win, he could give up his future first, but I don't think that's a good idea. I think I would try to trade Justin Jefferson and try to start over. But since he didn't win the last 2 years, I would definitely try to trade Jettas and start over with him.
And I'll give you one of the examples of the trade bullying. So my team in this league is not good. I made a couple of wrong moves like 2 years ago, and I'm still paying for it. I'm just climbing my way back up.
Tell me.
In the draft?
Yeah, like 2 years ago.
No.
Not either. The point is, he's in a bad position.
Yeah, my team's not good right now. I have like 3 good assets. Building them back up, but got a decent amount of things. But anyways, so I don't have that many assets. My only real wide receiver is Marvin Harrison, which is a good building block in my opinion. But he offered Justin Jefferson for Marvin Harrison and 2 first-round picks, so 26 and 27. And I was just trying to tell him that maybe that would make sense for another guy's team. It just would not make sense for my team because it's just gonna. I'll get an upgrade receiver, but I could not build my team up anymore. So I would just be stuck at the bottom for 2 more years easily. And he would obviously get like a top 3 pick those 2 years. And he just kept this. I mean, it wasn't like it's not like it was like threatening or anything, but it's just nonstop spam trades and texts and stuff like that. And I feel like he's just trying to find weaker-minded people to just leave them alone and they'll just hit accept. And I don't like that because I feel like those top-tier teams always try to bully the shittier teams where they give up on all their stuff and then the league just kind of goes down the drain because no one wants to play for those teams or pick up those teams because they suck.
So I have more on him. So he tried to trade with one of our friends in the league as well, and he gave him false info. He said the team that had 1.0 win this year will 100% be worse next year. That's definitely not true. This team that was 1.0 win this year made some moves, and he actually has, I think, a mid first round now. I think his team is good enough to be in the mid and not be at the bottom because there's couple teams in our league that I think are a little bit off worse. The team in question will have a mid 2026 verse, like I said. owner is told if he's trying to trade for his pick back, because that's what he's trying to do, try to trade Justin Jefferson for his pick, and then he basically is going to, tank. But our friend who's smart, he said, well, if you're going to do that, then I'm just going to keep it, and you're going to have to pay for that 1.01 because I know what you're doing. So the owner obviously is trying to make his top 3 pick by selling assets. The owner's wooing our friend to trade for more assets to ensure that his pick is high, and he gets mad, brags about his top 4 finish in the 5 years in a row, and then he starts, name calling like that doesn't sound like good logic. You're making the wrong decision. Blah 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 blah. And then he tries to, discredit the logic. And our friend handled it perfectly. And this is what you need to do: let them be mad. Like that's on them. Like if they're gonna get mad, that's on them. Don't even like say anything to them. Just be like, okay, cool. Like if you don't want to trade, no problem. Hold that pick for the price it will be, because that owner is going to have to do one of 2 things. They're going to have to sell for assets, or they're going to have to sell their team to make a better team eventually. So that pick is going to be, it's going to be it what it is regardless. That's what we're trying to tell you is like about the bullying. Like trust us, like we've heard it all before. All the cussing, all the name calling, whatever. Like it's whatever. Like if you don't want to trade, you don't want to trade. It's not that big of a deal. We told you our sound logic, and if you fail to listen to it, that's on you. So another owner thinks that Jonathan Brooks is worth more than a first. And he was trying to compare Brooks to Frank Gore because of their injuries. But the difference was Frank Gore got hurt in college, never in the NFL. Brooks got hurt in the college, and then he got hurt now 2 years in the NFL. He doesn't want to trade 3 mid to late first round picks for Drake London because he thinks that's not worth it. And I value Drake London at that price. I value Drake London at 3 ones if they're going to be mid and late first. If there is an early first, sure, it could go down to 2 ones. So he just tried to bully me into liking a quarterback, CJ Stroud, in this instance. To tell you the truth, I'm not really a CJ Stroud fan. Never really was. I got the hype the first year. He played better than I thought. And then last year, I kind of felt like he showed exactly how he is. Like he's going to be mid with a potential of like getting those high points. So like a Jordan Love, but I think Jordan Love is better than CJ Stroud. That's a lot because I hate the Packers. So he thinks that Stroud and a 2026 mid first is worth not only Drake London but also Bryce Young. Then he starts name calling me, doing all that bullshit. And then he switches up the trade and he's like, I'll trade you Trey Benson. And then I was like, sure. I actually don't believe in Trey Benson, to tell you the truth. But like, I'll trade him if I get him in like a good trade. And he thinks Trey Benson is worth a first. And I'm like, no, Trey Benson's not worth the first, buddy. And neither is Jonathan Brooks. And then he sends that trade that we talked about with Trey Benson, and then he keeps on spam texting me and brings up that Jonathan Brooks multiple times is claiming he's Frank Gore, and I'm like, hey man, listen, like I'm not interested in Jonathan Brooks, I'm not interested in Trey Benson. Like this is what I wanted, and I was like, you didn't want to give that to me, and then I was like, this is what I think Drake London is worth, and you didn't want to give that to me, so we're good. Like no need for anything else. The point of all of this is just to tell you, like, don't get bullied. Like, keep your picks, stick to your gut, and just trust the process, and you'll be fine. Don't let these other owners bully you, because there are ones that like they take it maybe too seriously, but just they want to win, so they try to do anything they can to basically gaslight you and just try to get your picks or your players for the cheapest possible amount. And then when they get those picks and or players, then they trade them for like 3 first rounds, double what you paid for.
Those are the type of people that just always want to win trades, not actually do a trade.
Exactly. Yeah, a fair trade or whatever. Okay. So did you want to do your mock draft?
Yeah. No. We just want to read straight through it. Yeah. All right. We just did this as a kind of a quick one because we haven't really done a redraft in a while. I'm obviously not in any redraft leagues this year. Well, we just did it for fun. So I did. You want to just do one, then one, then one, then one? Or do you want me to do both of mine?
No, well, yeah, you could just do your 1.04 and then I'll do my 1.01.
Okay.
You
All
do
right.
10 team?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I did. We did mock simulations online, or at least I did.
Yeah, same.
For my first one, I got pick number 4. For my first pick, I got Justin Jefferson, slid down to 4. And then I got Jonathan Taylor with my second pick, Bucky Irving with my third, Marvin Harrison with my fourth. Then I got Patrick Mahomes with my fifth, Zay Flowers with my sixth. So that's my 3 receivers: Justin Jefferson, Marvin Harrison, Zay Flowers. Number 7, I got Travion Henderson. Number 8, Travis Kelce. 9, I got Roman Dunze. 10, I got Jordan Addison. 11, TJ Hawkinson. 12, Trey Benson. 13, I got my backup quarterback in Caleb Williams. 14, I'm always just going to pick the Rams defense. And then 15, which was my last pick, I got Evan McPherson, the Bengals kicker.
So I had 1.07 and I did do a 10 team and then realized like I think we usually do like 12 teams because the 10 team I felt like I got a lot of good players.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
So I was like, everything?
Yeah, so I did 1.07 actually by accident at first because I clicked on the first and I guess somebody already had the first pick and I was like, oh, they put me at 7. Perfect. That's what I was going to do anyway. But anyway, for that 10 team 1.07, I got CeeDee Lamb first, then Puka Nakua, then I got Josh Allen, then I went Kenneth Walker, then I went Alvin Kamara, then I went Rashay Rice, then I went Roma Dunze, then I went Joe Mixon, and I was like, ah, shit, he's injured. I didn't know that. So that's where kind of like I wrote where I should have picked somebody else, and I would have been Baker Mayfield as my like backup. But the next round, since I had Joe Mixon, I picked Dak Prescott. Then I went Evan Ingram, but it was a toss-up between Evan Ingram and Tucker Kraft, and I ended up picking Evan Ingram. I went Phillies defense. Could have gone Baltimore's. I felt those were even as well. And then went Cooper Kupp, then Kyle Pitts, Rico Dowdy. So he mentioned it before, but for redraft purposes, he's kind of my sleeper this year. Is Rico Dowdy. Don't know why I have like a weird feeling that he's going to do well this year. Him, Darnell Mooney, and Debo Samuel were actually my sleepers for like a redraft league. My last pick was Harrison Butker.
Right, and then it was same standard rules, redraft league 10 team. This one I was pick number 10. I got St. Brown with my first pick. I did go Derrick Henry with my second pick. Devontae Adams with my third. Breece Hall with my fourth. Joe Burrow with my fifth. Alvin Kamara with my sixth. Travis Kelce with my seventh. George Pickens with my eighth. Ninth, I got Roman Dunze. 10, yeah, I got them both times.
I did too.
At 9.
Well, kind of, yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
10 was Chris Olave. 11, I got TJ Hawkinson. 12 was Nick Chubb. And that's actually one of my sleepers for the year. If you want to consider him a sleeper, it's kind of
I would, just because of
a
his
household name. So
That is true.
my backup quarterback, I got Justin Herbert at 13. Number 14 was the Rams defense, and number 15 was Josh Carty.
So I did the 12 team because I noticed the 10 team was like a little too less. So I went 12 team and I had the first pick. And I went Jamar Chase. And then when it came back around, got Brock Bowers and Garrett Wilson. The Garrett Wilson pick was between him and James Cook. I decided on Garrett Wilson. I don't know. You could have gone either way. I was going to do the whole, I guess, a new thing that I saw online where you wait to draft running backs until at least the 5th round. And I was going to do that. So that's what I kind of did. But then when it came back around, there was not really anybody like receivers left. So I just went Ken Walker. And then I was like, well, that breaks that. And then I picked Patrick Mahomes in the 5th. It was either him, Rashay Rice, or Pacheco. I was going to pick one of those Kansas City players. I ended up going with Patrick Mahomes. I felt that was a good pick at 5. Came back around with Roma Dunze and then Aaron Jones. But it was between Aaron Jones and his boy Tyrone Tracy. Like I said, it's a toss-up. You could go either way. I only picked Aaron Jones because I feel like J.J. McCarthy is going to do a lot of checkdowns this year, especially when Jordan Addison is going to miss the first couple of games for PEDs. The next time around, I went Tank Bigsby. I was thinking Tucker Kraft here too. So it could have gone either way there. And then my other one was Debo Samuel, and I picked him. But I could have gone Godwin as well. I only picked Debo Samuel. Like I said, I think he's going to be a sleeper this year. But Godwin could be a sleeper too. Maybe Luka takes coverage off of him. Mike Evans obviously going to get covered. And then Bucks, I feel like, are going to pass it like they usually do a lot, and then just rely on Bucky when, like, those second down plays. Ended up going Brandon Ayuk after, oh, I'm sorry. So I went Debo Samuel, then I went Darnell Mooney. Like I said, my sleeper. Then I went Brandon Ayuk. Came back around with Baltimore's defense over Phillies this time. And then I went Rico Dowdy, like I said, one of my sleepers. And then I went Cam Ward, and it was between him and Rodgers. And, I have a distinct taste for Aaron Rodgers. Respect him, I hate him at the same time. So I took Cam Ward. And then my last pick for a kicker was Cam Little, because he hit that 70-yard kick or field goal, which was pretty amazing, actually, because he had like 4 extra yards on it. Could have made 74.
Too bad didn't count.
Yeah.
Preseason.
Too bad didn't count. But those were like our redrafts. Just in case any of y'all only play like redrafts, just wanted to help you around there, give you some sleepers. Let us know in the comments what you think. Let us know if you have any questions. Just anything you want to do. Thanks for listening.